you're supposed to spray a little bit away from the source where the tire is, so you light that and it kind of runs like a fuse. I just went straight for the tire, and I ended up in the emergency room with first and second degree burns on my right hand. That's all right. It's all healed. It was all good. I got good drugs out of it. Like, I got Dilaudid. And first thing they do is throw some Vicodin at me. I said, are you fucking kidding? They're like, let's give them an IV. Then they hit me with something. I don't know what it was. But what really worked was that silver cream. You ever get a burn? Get some of that silver cream, man. It's like it never even happened. It's amazing stuff. So back to the topic. Pooping is a thing. You know, sometimes you gotta poop. You don't have a place to poop. And I feel for people that are in cars, because I've been stuck in Beltway traffic, and most of my life I've worked on computers, but then I merged over to copiers for two reasons. One, I wanted to get away from computer nerds. I don't like their personality types typically. Yeah, a little too for me. I'm more of a tough guy, kind of, in my thinking and sort of in life. You know, I mean, it was weird. It was very strange for me. So I'm in high school. I'm a football player. You know, I'm tough like the rest of the guys. And then I joined the Air Force, which is kind of, depending on the field, you're sort of, there's some wimps in there, honestly. And then so you get into this nerdy sort of clique thing happening, right? A bunch of nerds. And some of those guys, God, I give my life for them. And then you get out of that and you're in computers and you're getting into real nerds now. And then I was like, you know what? I need to be turning a screwdriver. I can't just be talking on the phone and building people's new computers and troubleshooting. And so I started working on copiers. I did that for 5 years. Worked for Xerox, worked for Konica Minolta, a couple other companies. You keep going to the next job to get the raise, because you're like a whore. I mean, you are. You're like a whore. And once you're good, once you're getting some training and one company's put out some money to train you. I had a job offer when I left Xerox. Serious, swear to God. The guy offered me a job in junior officers' quarters on a Navy ship that would deploy from 6 to 9 months at a time, handling all 19 copiers on the ship. That was going to be my job. I said to myself, junior officers' quarters sounds pretty primo to me. Well, I did my research. Research is a killer. Research is an illusion killer, friends. And I insist that you research on anything you're going to believe in, for Christ's sake. Anyway, found out that junior officers' quarters means you're sharing a room with 5 other guys in fucking cots. You got one bathroom, and the ceilings are 5 feet tall. I'm 6'5". You do the fucking math. Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. Take your job and shove it. Yeah, that's when I went to work for Konica Minolta and left Xerox. Yeah, skipped that whole Navy ship thing. Glad I never joined the Navy for that reason. Definitely. Let's make sure this is still coming through. I love doing these surprise shows because nobody comes in to chat and fuck with me, which, hey now, you know what I mean? It's like, hey now. Now, let's get back to the point. All right, so you're at, Grandpa Owl's back, I hear, by the way. Here's what's great about not doing a show for 20-odd days. Lots to catch up on, lots to talk about. I don't have any scripts, I don't have any notes. I'm just talking. I didn't rehearse this shit. I just talk to you guys. And there's two things that I want to talk about before we get into the friends thing and then go freestyle for sure. And that is that there's a lot of host-on-host bullshit going on Spreaker. And I agree that there is some entertainment value in there, but I have had several people at different times over the past year try to get me into a group. And by that, I'm not talking about a panel that does a show. I already agreed to do that. I've already done it with Guy Shea and some other people on the Evil Show. I'll do panel shows anytime. I'll come on your panel, sure. But once you try to get me into a group that necessarily isolates us from others and makes them the them, I'm a lone wolf kind of guy. I do my thing. I need total freedom to move at any time. I'm not going over to ask Barco if I can load a track on BFC. I'm not going over to Resistance Radio Network to see if I've done a commercial correctly. I'm sure as fuck not going over to the Bill Wagoner crew. Worst fucking losers I've ever heard on Spreaker. Jesus Christ, the threats. I told them where I lived. I said, They kept saying, you're going to have a BWC wagon roll up on your lawn. I said, bring your goddamn BWC wagon so I can eat your face. I was going to have some tortilla face. I was ready. Yeah, fuck them. Never show up. Bunch of pussies. That's usually how it is. You know what? If you want to know how to handle bullies, just read my show description. It tells you right there. You walk straight up and punch them in their goddamn bulbous nose. I hate a motherfucking bully. A bully is someone who gets in your life and tries to change your path. Not necessarily to the negative, but just to change it. Just to say, look, I'm important and I'm about to matter to you. And they do it just for that reason. And they do it to feel power. And fuck them. If there's a real bully out there and he knows he's a bully, I challenge that bully. Anywhere, anytime, anyhow you want to do it. Fuck him. You know, you got new people doing shows all the time, and I hear people bullying the new people, trying to scare them off. Do they need a little toughening? Probably I did, but there's some vicious shit that goes on, you guys, and I don't, you know, you suck if you do that. You really do suck. Well, I survived it. Oh, so don't end the cycle of violence. Your daddy beat you, so you beat your kid, right? The fuck out of here. There are people I just want to kill. There are people I want to kill, but I don't. I just eat their faces like pork rinds. But it comes back to poop, because humans have remarkably, as I wrote in my first book, humans have a remarkably inefficient digestive system. We produce a lot of waste, you know, and maybe it's because we're too dumb to eat the right stuff. I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder if we ate the perfect stuff. I haven't ever thought about this before. I wonder if we ate the perfect diet, because we were so smart, we knew exactly what our body required, if we'd have any waste. You know what I mean? I don't know. As far as solid waste, I don't know. But here's the thing. Right now we do. So you're stuck somewhere. You gotta shit. You've got to shit. I'm going to save you, man. I've got a way for you to poop anywhere. Listen to this. Ever found yourself stuck in traffic or lost in the woods or even tied up by your ankles to a tree for reasons you couldn't quite remember? Sure, all of these things are survivable, but what about when you have to poop? Nature happens, friends, and I'd like to encourage you to consider the Bernie Mac poop sack today. The Bernie Mac poop sack inserts into the anus with a simple, painless, kazoo-like nozzle that will automatically expand to accommodate your fecal dimensions. Oh no! Are you one of those people that drops tree stumps out of your backside? Get the Bernie Mac poop sack shovel mount attachment and you'll never have to worry about giving birth to a small child out of your ass again. Call today and get your Bernie Mac poop sack. Shit happens, but when it does, why let it ruin your life? Go to BernieMacPoopsack.com today and say goodbye to stinky ass.
Princess Speaker here. Well, I'm giving Kevin this clip here, and basically the topic of discussion was...
Now, I stopped that one because it jumped over my Grandpa Al promo, which made me very unhappy because that interrupted my flow, because the file has been moved. So let's go ahead and do it then. You heard Apocales talking. Before he begins, now he did this for me, and he did it for him. We're talking about internet friends. Who's real, who's not, how do you know? You don't really, and we all know that. You have to, I think you can get to know an internet friend without ever having met them and start to really figure them out and start to sort of bond with them in a very real way. I think you can, honestly believe that. And let me give you an example. I have a friend who's out west right now who has been my friend since about 2009. We've never met, and we are pretty close. And she has shown up, it seems like every time life smacks me in the face with something, she doesn't even, she just senses it. She just knows, you know, and she shows up to say, what can I do? What's wrong? What's going on? And when you consider that she's not an average kind of person, she is a person who not very long ago lost a child in an auto accident. If there's one pain that I would never wish on any mother, even my ex-wife, who's a total psychopath, who I hope chokes on a snow cone, I would never want them to lose a child. A mother should not have to bury their child. There is, well, with most women, my ex-wife's an exception, but there is generally a maternal instinct there that is so very strong. And I know that the evolutionary psychologist and the biologist would come in here and say, hold on, Kevin. My whiteboard out. You know what it is? It's just replications of your genes. You're just concerned about your genes surviving. It's really a very selfish thing, caring about your children. Maybe they're right, but it's still strong and it's still love, and you do anything for your kids, and I think we value that across the world, across cultures, doesn't matter. We value people who value their families. And we're going to hear a little bit later from someone named Robin Dunbar in a talk called "Can the Internet Buy You More Friends?" Well, it's not what it sounds like. That sounds like buying ads or something. It's a very informative talk from the parts that I've heard about internet friendships. But we're also going to go back, and what he does, which I love, is step back into clan mentality. Where do we come from? Have you guys thought about it? We've been around a few million years. We've passed into different species, and we have developed behaviors. And these have not developed quickly. They've developed slowly, and they've anchored in, and they've become part of the gene pool. And small groups of men and women that can work together survive. And so there was naturally this kind of thing. This isn't just something you're taught because you watch the Brady Bunch. This is born in you. It is innate. You know, we can have the debate over nature versus nurture all day long, but there is something inside you. If you grew up in a cave with no teaching and you came out and you developed some friends, you would have this value that you would apply to them if they valued you and each other. It's amazing how it works. It's in there. It's already in the genes. We know we need small groups at least to survive, sometimes big groups. So listen, here's what I think about internet friends. I'm going to keep my part of it short. Then we're going to jump into Apocs, which is only 3 minutes long, and then we're going to jump into an expert. I believe internet friends, once you get to know them, especially if you're qualified to assess when someone is being a true friend or when they're being a fair weather friend or when they're being just a troll, if you're qualified to assess that because you've listened to them a lot and talked to them a lot, what'll happen is if someone's messing around with you pretending to be a friend, you'll catch them eventually. They'll trip up. They don't have consistency in their behavior. And if you know what to look for, you'll catch that pretty quickly. I think internet friends are just as real life friends, and in some cases they're even more genuine. They're even more there for you. And as somebody said, I don't remember his name, if you ever want to know who your real friends are, get yourself a jail sentence. And I think that's a good way to test it. Go spend some time in jail. See who's there for you, who's writing letters, who's showing up for visits. Those are your real friends. And I think that's a good way to put it. But that doesn't mean you don't. Friends are on levels. You have acquaintances. You have friends that like to do certain hobbies with you. What was the one? Kayaking? or was it polo? I don't remember. It was an AOL commercial. I just tried kayaking the other day for the first time, and that's not any kind of pseudonym for some other activity. It was real kayaking, and it destroyed my back. I didn't think it would. It felt pretty easy when I did it, but the torque and where it puts the fulcrum of force, it got me. But fun, but very relaxing, and I would do it again. I would pay that price again. It takes 2 days to recover from for me, but it's worth it. Anyway, so we're going to hear first what Apocales has to say about friends, and I'm not going to let him influence me, so I probably will talk a little more about it. Then we're going to get into what the expert says about friends. I want to thank you. Who do we have there? We have President Todd Morris, who is black, but also the president not of the United States. No, that's not. He's the president of the universe, the whole one, the capital U. You got it. There's everybody. Obama calls him when he picks up the red phone. That's who he is. CDC whistleblower. You know who that is. More genuine. You go try that theory. Hold sign. Leave Apocales alone. I guess I'll leave Apocales alone. I'm probably one of his biggest fans, so I don't know what you mean by that. But you are about to hear what Apocales thinks about friends right now.
Hey, what's up? Prince of Speaker here. Well, I'm giving Kevin this clip here, and basically the topic of discussion was, can you have real life friends with the people that you meet on the internet?